You know, if I haven't said it already, which I know I have, don't build your van in the dead of summer. It's go to the fall or the spring. It's a lot easier. All right, guys, I am back. What is going on? All right, if you guys are new to my channel, this is the build series of Goes to my second van build. I do have a degree in architectural engineering. I'm a stand-up comedian that likes to travel. I also do YouTube videos on DIY. I do design consulting. I do a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not gonna get into right now. Okay, here we go. This video is about, look how fast I talk, as I have 2 sheets of birch plywood right here. This video is about the walls of inside the van, not the exterior walls, but really the partitions or the cabinetry of the walls. This is actually probably part 1. The cabinets themselves I am going to do on a separate video because I'm not even close to doing them yet. Really, I wanted to just kind of go over part 1 of the partitions of how they all get together and why I choose the wood that I choose, etc. and so forth. So right here, I have my ceiling up. You know what's funny? I didn't mean to mix and match the color of the plywood, but it is what it is. It's not birch plywood on the ceiling and the exterior walls. It's it's like a sand, S-A-N-D-E. The reason I went with that is it's a little bit harder, a little bit firmer than a birch plywood. Birch is extremely thin and kind of fragile. You saw in my framing video that there's furring strips, and that's what the wall is attached to, is those furring strips, or the frame. And the frame, make sure when you do put the frame in, I don't know if I mentioned this in the video, but when you do put the frame in, you're gonna wanna use self-tapping metal screws. And again, stay on the rib. Do not go through the exterior sheet metal of the van. So you want to drill into the rib because the rib has plenty of room. And you drill into the rib with self-tappers, and they really only come in a fine thread. I'd rather a coarse thread because it'll have a better catch. If you want a pilot drill, you can do that first. I personally don't like doing that, but you can pilot drill first, then drill with a screw. You can do it that way, but again, self-tappers work just fine. And then when you put the walls up, you can go right in with a coarse thread, like a drywall screw from wood to wood, because you're going right into the furring strip, and it should give you a solid hold. Now, the reason I'm doing mine this way is because I already know what my finishes are gonna be. I'm gonna be using tile on one side, and I'm gonna be using a flexible, like, compound, which the reason it's flexible is because you're driving the van, it's gonna be moving. You don't want it to shrink or crack. I'm gonna use a skim of that, and I'm gonna cover up like cracks and any screws or anything like that. And then you sand it down, and then you can paint over that. I'll probably use 2 coats of paint, and that should give you a nice solid finish. We're gonna get into that when we get into finishes, but I kind of wanted to give you guys a reason why it looked this way. For the ceiling, it's gonna be completely different, and I'm gonna be doing a completely different video about that. The reason I'm doing a different video about the ceiling because it is very complex and why I'm doing things, and I just wanted to make sure that, like, if somebody wants to take the idea of the ceiling and do their own, I want to make sure that that's a separate video in itself. So then when I started making partitions, so the back walls right there, and pretty much all my cabinetry, and my benches or things like that. Now, these 2 back walls that you might see here in frame, if those walls pretty much they're gonna be housing actually my Murphy bed, which again, I'll probably do in a different video, but that's actually housing my Murphy bed. That'll be like the frame of the Murphy bed. If you do a Murphy bed, not in a van, you would actually build out a frame, and then you would build out a bed frame. And that's what this is. This is the exterior frame of the bed, and then I'm gonna build out a bed frame for the Murphy bed. That's pretty much what that is. So it's a lot of engineering and headaches, but it all is gonna work out in the end. The reason it's also engineering and headaches is because you have curvature. You can maybe see right up there, the curvature of the van itself, you know, how it curves because it's aerodynamic, because we're supposed to be driving these things. It's kind of crazy. There's like a 6 or 7 inch difference from floor to ceiling. I believe the floor span is like 70 inches and the ceiling is like 56 inches or something like that. So we had to make sure how we were gonna do that, and pretty much the best way to do it is find your center line in the floor, find your center line in the ceiling, and work off of that. I wanted to bring this as far over as possible, and on the passenger side, I wanted to build pretty much a box around the electrical box that's already there. We actually fastened directly into that, which was kind of crazy. But it worked. It worked out really well because that's actually fastened into the van, so that thing isn't going anywhere. And it's a good anchor point for the Murphy bed. We brought the back walls up tight to the cedar paneling that's in the back. I put cedar in the back because that is the only wood that you're gonna be able to see when the van is in bedroom mode. So when the bed is up, you're gonna see a white wall. When the bed is down, Murphy bed, then you will see just that, and it gives it a warm feel, bedroom feel. When I want to do work or when I have guests over, I want to eat dinner, it's going to be up and it'll be white. For the most part, it will look very kind of like European farm style. And I'll go into that in the finishes videos, but that's kind of like why I did what I did. Again, everybody's different. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has their own designs. Everybody has their own thoughts and ideas. This is mine. That's just how I'm telling you how I'm doing it. The way that I fastened the cedar panel to the back was we did glue, adhesive, and then we actually just brad nailed straight into the metal. It's a way to do it. I don't recommend it, but I'm not using anything back there. It's just a aesthetic look. I could have done furring strips and went directly to the furring strips. It would have given it a stronger feel, but I did it that way. It worked out really well. That cedar paneling, it's only 1/4 inch thick. It's really lightweight, which is nice because they're on my doors. And it just, I think I put a tung oil on it. It's half citrus oil, half tung oil from the Milk Paint Company. Pretty much the look I was going for in bedroom mode. Very warm feeling. Outside of the walls, or pretty much like I was saying before, I went with a birch plywood. These are 3/4 inch thick. The ones leaning up right here are 1/4 inch thick. These are gonna be like cabinets. You'll see that when I do them. The cabinet faces, lightweight, they don't hold any structural value to them. That's 3/4 inch. I need a little bit of structure, I need a little bit of strongness to them, so 3/4 inch is obviously thick. What we did was we edge banded them. So if you're familiar with edge banding, what edge banding does is plywood has like a raw edge to it, and you want to not expose that because it's not the prettiest. You know, you want it nice and pretty and smooth looking. Edge banding, the cheap version to do is they sell it at like Home Depot. It comes in like strap. It's usually coiled up. It's iron-on. Yeah, it has glue already there. It's like dry glue, and you put it on the edge of plywood, and then you take an iron and you just iron it onto the side of the plywood, and that's the cheap version of edge banding. It works, it's fine, but sometimes over time it can peel off. It can, if you rub up against it, it could rip it off. Because after you're done with it, you actually have to slice it off to make sure it's all in line. Because if you edge band like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, is going to have a little bit of overhang, so you want to make sure you cut it all off. They actually make a tool for it. It's usually right next to the edge banding. What we did, and this I guess is the carpenter way to do it, is we bought a poplar board. You buy it per square foot. Usually it's about $1.20 or $1.30 per square foot. You use poplar board. Let's say a wall is 20 inches long. And let's say you want to cut an edge band 3/8. So you subtract 3/8 off of your 20 inches. So you make it 19 inches and 5/8 in width. And then you add a 3/8 edge band thickness, you glue it, and then you brad nail it in. And I can show you a close-up of a couple edge bands that my dad and I did. Again, it's a poplar board on a birch. That's two different woods, but again, it's just a hard board on a plywood board. That's just the way that I would have rather have done it. It's nice, it's clean, it's very clean. It looks really professional. Again, you could do it the other way. It's a lot easier the other way. It's just this way is, it's cool. You'd have to rip those 3/8 strips. You should be really careful because you don't want to slice off a finger because you're obviously running it right close to the table saw. And then how we fastened in the walls is we used cleats. What we did was we ripped up, again, that poplar plywood, and we use it as a cleat. So for example, a cleat, like that corner back here, the right angle corner, if I wanted to connect those, you can put a cleat in, and we'll just use these pieces right here, these scrap pieces. What you do is you put a cleat, this is my right angle, like that. You put a cleat right in here, and you can screw into it this way, you can screw into it this way, and that'll create a nice solid piece of partition, I guess you can call it that way. So that's that's one way to do it. Another way is to also use like an angle cleat. You can get them, they're just metal angles like that, and you can do it that way. I've seen it done. They're not the sturdiest way. And another way to do it is also Kreg jig. I brought it up to my dad that I was gonna use Kreg jig. He doesn't particularly like Kreg jigging. He's pretty old school. I know Kreg jigs are pretty sturdy, but again, I'm probably gonna use the Kreg jigging on most of my cabinetry. For the walls, I'm okay with using cleats. Cabinetry, Kreg jig you can probably get away with. But walls, like especially my Murphy bed, I'm okay with cleating. It's much more solid way to build a wall, especially in these tight spaces, that's all. If I was doing a house, I would not do it this way, by the way, just letting you all know. It will be covered up. There will be a wall there, which is part of the Murphy bed. This is where it kind of gets technical. The place from the bottom of that goes up. The curvature of the roof, we have to scribe that. We're going to fix it in place.